It's no secret that this election is coming down to those key swing states. Michigan has 15 electoral votes up for grabs. It is a battleground state. Is Michigan a must win for the presidential candidates?
So I don't think it's as big as a must-win as, say, a state like Pennsylvania, which has a bit more electoral votes. But the blue wall of Pennsylvania, of Wisconsin, and Michigan, yeah, these are hugely important states. We've got a remade presidential election going on now that Harris is on top of the ticket. A month ago we were talking about a map expansion for Republicans. We heard Minnesota and New Jersey were in play. Well, throw all that out, and now we're back to the battlegrounds being real battlegrounds, and we're looking at other states like, is North Carolina in play? And so, I think it is an interesting state of affairs right now in the race, in that it's tight. It's tightening, and with the Democratic convention coming up next week, where we stand come Labor Day might look a little different than where we're standing today.
It's been about 3 weeks since Vice President Kamala Harris has been the top of the ticket. And I am curious, as a pollster, because now there's been some time for that to be baked in, not that much, but it's not as big of a shock as it was 3 weeks ago. Have you had to throw out everything you knew about this election up until that point?
Yes and no. So obviously it was a massive change, and a lot of what was driving the story of the 2024 election was about Joe Biden. So I don't think things have changed considerably for Trump. He's had the numbers have been pretty stable. And he's gone through, tumult as well with, the attempted assassination. But his numbers actually have been pretty stable. And one of the things that remains true in this poll that we've seen in other polls, even when it was Trump versus Biden, is in a lot of these battleground states, Trump's job approval, his retrospective job approval, has been over 50%. And it's so that has stayed. But, on the Democratic side, yes, you had to throw things out. You even had to throw things out about how people viewed Kamala Harris, because she is getting a completely new introduction to the electorate that didn't exist before. There's so many people now who have seen her on a much broader stage that those numbers had to be thrown out. So yeah, it's a new race, and while it hasn't changed, like I said, in Michigan, Trump was maybe ahead 3 to 5 points a month ago, and now he's ahead 2. That little movement in a battleground state is a big deal. Whether or not these third parties actually materialize something is a big deal, and that chapter has not yet been written, because a lot of these states have not finalized who's going to be on the ballot. So yeah, it's a whole new race for sure.
In this election, it feels like little movement in these battleground states is certainly seismic. But Bob Ward, thank you so much for coming back on, per usual, breaking down your numbers with us. I appreciate the conversation and hope you can join me again soon.
Thanks for having me.